Greetings. I'm Melanee Hand from Los Alamos County Council, and I'm here to give a summary of our meeting last night, September 30th, 2025. It was a long agenda. There are a lot of items. I'll try to get through it as quickly as possible and just hit the highlights. We had a proclamation designating October 2025 as the Arts and Humanities month in Los Alamos County, and we also had another proclamation designating October 2025 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Los Alamos County. We had a presentation and briefing to council from the Los Alamos Local Business Coalition. They gave us a nice presentation which basically included a summary of top challenges, review of the county plans, overarching issues, business culture, bureaucracy and trust, and local business challenges, which included suggested priorities. They also identified missed opportunities for tourism. So, you know, a lot of these ideas were reviewed, and I'll talk about that a little bit more because we had a report from the working group, the council working group as well, that addressed a lot of the things in their presentation. We had a number of items on the consent agenda, mostly contract type approvals, funding approvals. Won't go into that. You can find the list of all those on our agenda for last night. It's through the web. Just go to Los Alamos County and find the agenda for September 30th. We had code ordinance amending chapter 16, the development code. This basically was just to clear up some inconsistencies and errors. And so that went very smoothly. There wasn't a problem with unanimous approval from council to adopt that. Then we got into public hearings, and we had an ordinance that amended chapter 6, article 1 of the county code to prohibit the feeding of wild animals. This has been something that is not quite understood with, many people in the public. We did have quite a few people comment, as we had several times before when this came up on the agenda. It basically does not include feeding birds. So, if you're feeding birds, that's still fine. And if you have, a landscape that animals are coming in and eating things out of your yard or out of your garden, that isn't a problem. That's not an intent, of you feeding wildlife. I think it was basically meant to address some areas where we see consistent abuse of feeding wildlife, and that causes a whole slew of other problems that the wildlife experts have recommended against. So we have their expertise to really help us with how this ordinance was developed. We also had an ordinance for the purchase, sale, and development agreement for affordable and market rate housing on the A8A parcel. This is basically 380 units that will be built. The rents will stay below market, and it's located on DP Road, east of the senior housing complex. It includes a trail along the canyon intended for public use. So it's not going to be just for the residents. The developer specifically mentioned that this would be open to the public. And it would be really nice. Basically, the housing complex isn't directly on DP Road, except for a little portion of it that is directly across the street from another apartment complex on DP Road when you first enter DP Road. but then it goes off onto another mesa top with canyons on both sides. It's a beautiful piece of property, and I would imagine that they're going to have some gorgeous views out there when this is built. Next, we had approval of a resolution of support for the electric vehicle infrastructure project funded by the New Mexico Department of Transportation. Key, funded by the New Mexico Department of Transportation. So this is to construct 2 electric vehicle chargers at the Mesa Public Library. For business, we had a discussion of the process for gross receipt tax increases, and we were presented the scenario of what was going on with collection of our gross receipts tax over the past several months, and we had a prediction that we were going to probably have a decrease of about 10%, and actually fell lower than that to 14%. And this is concerning because it will this shortfall will cause all sorts of issues for us, down the road. Basically, I want to show you this. We reviewed these different scenarios. We have these spreadsheets that were developed for different scenarios, and it shows over a longer time period, basically projections out to FY 2032, and just looking at where we would stand as far as an operating surplus or shortfall. And so based on all the information that was reviewed, it was a pretty detailed presentation. A lot of information was in that presentation from Helen Paraglio, and we even had our representative, Christine Chandler, come and talk, and she talked about the fact that this shortfall is due to these exemptions from our GRT for manufacturing. And this is basically within the laboratory, but it may also include some contractors that are providing manufacturing services to the lab. So 6-1, it was adopted to increase the GRT to 5/8 cents, and that would start in July 2026. So this particular increase will help us maintain a lot of the quality of life amenities that we had already planned, that I think so many people in the community are looking forward to seeing. So that's why I think we went with that percentage, and amount of the increase. There was some discussion that if our GRT looked better than what we're anticipating, and we're starting to get more GRT than we really need to accomplish all these different projects and funding of our programs, that we could possibly even come back and ask for a decrease. Not likely, but we did talk about it, so there could be a chance that we have a decrease if the GRT looks better than we predict. Then we went into council business, and that's when we heard about the council's local and small business engagement working group. They basically provided a report, and it outlined many of the things that were on the report from the Business Coalition. And so the motion that was accepted was that we would accept the working group report, we would dismantle that local small business engagement working group, and basically asked the chair and the county manager to work on assignments and next steps as recommended in the report. So, the working group was the first step to really investigate and interview different areas of the community that dealt with small businesses and local businesses. And then this information will be pursued further through various actions. So we can look forward to seeing other things come out of this down the road. Let's see. Okay, another thing that was adopted with a unanimous vote is we basically approved of the hiring of a federal lobbyist and getting lobbyist services, which will have a budget revision. This is important because our existing staff really has not put the time that's necessary to try to get time with different people in Washington and discuss some of the priorities for Los Alamos. Other things on the agenda, we, just basically, heard from the county manager. She has a very detailed report. It's her August report that you can review. That will give you more information on each department of the county and what they're doing. And that's about it. I think we were pretty tired out after we did all these other items. So that's my summary for this week. Everybody have a great fall. Thank you.